Welcome to the Garth Riley Show. Good to have you with us. We are talking about the family court series, the family court stories, maybe family court issues. And we found out in a bunch of other shows we've done is that this is a hot topic because so many people are in a state of flux these days, and they're heading towards the courts like as if they're giving away something. I think they're giving away misery in some cases. So my guest tonight, Linda Patterson-Kelly, is a barrister and a solicitor and has devoted her practice to working with people in family court and CAS. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This was a hot topic to come up to. You know, we had some people there are people lining up to come on the show right now to tell their family court stories. There seems to be a feeling that people are not getting a fair shake when it goes to family court. And of course, it's emotionally charged and everything else. And, you know, I want them to come on and tell their stories. What's good about having you on as a lawyer is that you could maybe give some people some insights and some guidelines as to what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. First of all, you started your practice 12 years ago. It was like you were in your 30s and decided, hey, I'm going to go from accounting to lawyer.
Well, single mom, new baby, on my own. I had to do something, so I became a lawyer.
Wow. How did you decide to do family court law?
I'd lived it.
Right.
You know, it was front and center, and I honestly feel that's where my skills are most valuable.
When you said you lived it because you had to go through this with the divorce, separation and divorce in your marriage.
Correct.
What was it like for you when you were going through it? Back then?
You don't know which end is up. You don't know what the reality is. You don't know what the law is. You don't know what you're entitled to. You don't know what you should be looking for, and you're a fish out of water. So you're relying on other people to help you through it, and they may not have your best interest at heart.
This is one of the big issues. We hear a lot. I mean, over the years, in my years of broadcast, I've heard these stories. Now we're devoting a series to this. But a lot of people said I didn't know what my rights were, didn't know what to expect. A lot of people going through the process, I had a gentleman on just a while ago, said he had to become an expert himself, almost a lay lawyer himself, because he didn't feel like he was getting good, great information, and he, that was his story. Was that yours?
The more you learn on your own, the better prepared you're going to be if you go either the court route or the collaborative route or the agreement route. You know, you can negotiate, you can mediate, you can do all different kinds of processes. The trick is what's best for you. You know, what can you afford? Do you want to spend all your money going to court?
But is this a natural? Have we been conditioned as a society to go, okay, I'm taking him to court, or I'm going to take her to court? I mean, have we not been sort of conditioned this way, that that's the way it goes versus other ways?
Well, it's mostly people who will tell you their sad story and how they did or didn't do, excuse me, in court.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So someone tells you their sad story, and then, but why do we, if we find that it's really not working, why do we keep going after getting lawyers?
What's the alternative?
Well,
the alternative is collaborative law, and not a lot of people know about it. Not a lot of people know that you can negotiate your own contract and live by those terms, because you've gone through each and every issue. The kids, the money, the house, the cars, whatever, and the debts, because that's always a big one too. And you've worked out a plan, and you've worked out a plan not on an adversarial basis, but on a collective basis. How are we going to make this family functional? That's not the focus of the court. The court isn't to fix the family.
But is that the misconception, that they think that the third party, that the court, is going to fix the problem? Is that a misconception normally?
They all think the court's going to see it their way.
Okay, so that doesn't work.
No.
Because someone's got to lose, right?
Gotta lose.
Someone out of the 50, you get a 50-50 chance. But in some courts, some people would say, depending on the judge. Anyways, I digress. going back to this idea of, so that now we know it's not a third party, you're saying collaborative law would be best.
I think you need to give it a try to see if you can resolve as many of the issues as possible.
Okay, Linda, how do you get to that point when, maybe there's been a case of, whatever, infidelity, financial loss of love, whatever it is, an emotionally charged environment, to now get people to go, okay, hats off this way, business hat on this way, how do we make this work? We're dealing with such an emotionally charged, it's not a transaction, this is everybody's ego.
Absolutely.
So how does collaborative law work when people are adversarial almost?
When you have two trained lawyers that do this on a regular basis, we know what to instruct clients. We know what to tell them to expect and what not to expect, and how to behave. You don't come in, to a collaborative session, well, I'm going to get it my way, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to tell you how it's going to be done. Right. You set some ground rules, and you say, we're going to be intelligent about it. We're going to dissect the issues and look at them all separately. We're going to not be rude to each other. And when an issue comes up, if we're getting hot under the collar, we'll take a break, we'll go out, we'll discuss it with our counsel, and then we'll find a way to work through that issue.
Okay. It sounds a little bit like it's Pollyanna. It sounds a little bit more of a Disney-like.
No, because when you're in your little private session with your lawyer, there's crying, there's yelling, there's lots of swearing, there's, but he didn't do, but she didn't do, and blah, 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 and I need, and, you've got to be with somebody who's seen it a lot so that they know that there's a stage that you go through when you're angry, and then you've got to look at the options. And okay, if we do this, this is going to happen. Do you agree with me? And the person will sit there and yeah, I agree.
Right.
But if we do this, there's a possibility of a resolution here. Can you open yourself to that idea? And then slowly, it doesn't happen in 3 hours,
Right.
It takes some time. But it doesn't take as much time as it does going to court. And when we go to court, we're not looking ideally, ideally you're looking for a resolution, but you're not looking for it as you go in, you're looking for the fight. That's how we're geared when we go into court.
When we go off to, we're going to go off to break in a moment, and we'll come back and talk about, I think you made a great case for collaborative law here. And there's a lot more questions, and we'll certainly get them through emails and whatnot, and we'll address them in other sessions. But when we come back from break, I'd like to talk about when collaborative law, one person wants to, the other one doesn't, what's it like and what's it like in the courtroom. So we'll be back with more of Linda Patterson-Kelly talking about family court issues, family court stories, and maybe a way you can find a way around it without breaking the bank. Stay with us.